A defeated president defiant about his loss. Misled protesters pushing and shoving police. A vice president, Congress, and the nation's capital under siege. These are the images many Americans remember a year after January 6th. President Biden addressed the nation today, saying last year's unprecedented attack on the Capitol should never happen again.
For the first time in our history, a president had not just lost an election, he tried to prevent the peaceful transfer of power as a violent mob breached the Capitol. But they failed. They failed. And on this day of remembrance, we must make sure that such attack never happens again.
In a statement released after Biden's speech, Trump continued pushing false claims, calling the November 2020 election the real insurrection. Hundreds of the protesters have been charged in the insurrection, but the FBI is still looking for others who were there during the riot. Leaders from each state shared the shock and dismay felt by many around the nation. 3 News Now investigator Aaron Sandiford reached out to politicians from Nebraska and Iowa who were there that day.
January 6th, 2021. Historians call it a dark day for American democracy. 5 people died. More than 120 police officers were injured. Backers of then-President Donald Trump stormed the Capitol before Congress could certify President Joe Biden's win. A year later, more than 700 people face criminal charges from that day. Charges range from entering a restricted building to assaulting police. Omaha Congressman Don Bacon was watching on TV in his office as several of his GOP colleagues questioned vote tallies from swing states. Many shared allegations the courts had rejected. And then things took a turn.
I was getting texts from the security folks saying don't go outside, it's dangerous outside. We had a bomb threat in the building next door. But what I remember most was in the middle of the debate, people started running out of the chamber. And that told me, I did not realize the protesters had made it that far.
West Des Moines Congresswoman Cindy Axne was on her way to the Capitol to vote.
And I remember it being a really nice day. And all of a sudden, getting a warning on my phone said, seek shelter, do not come to the Capitol. Whatever you do, find shelter, seek it now. We had to shut the shades of the office windows. We had to turn off all the lights, turn off all the electronics, make no noise. Do not let anybody know where you're at.
Nebraska's Jeff Fortenberry spoke with KMTV during the Capitol siege.
Those who are turning this into violent protest and are taking over public buildings and creating dangerous situations are undermining our democracy, undermining their very right. This is reckless and wrong.
Bacon agreed then and now.
Well, it was wrong. And I think Republicans should make very clear it was wrong. Those who beat up the police and are hitting them with their flagpoles, throwing rocks at them, no way you can condone that kind of behavior. But on the other hand, the Democrats are overplaying their hand on this too. I mean, we were not close to toppling the government.
Axne says chaos was closer than people think.
I know exactly where the electoral college votes were moving throughout the Capitol to actually certify the election. So this was literally an attempt to stop that certification. So to stop the peaceful transfer of power to the next president.
A congressional select committee is investigating what role Trump and his team may have played in protesters' efforts to disrupt the final count. Trump, on January 6th, held a rally near the White House. He repeated the lie that he hadn't lost. He had, as Republican-led election audits in contested states confirmed.
We have come to demand that Congress do the right thing and only count the electors who have been lawfully slated. I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard.
Nebraska gubernatorial candidate Charles Herbster attended that rally as a VIP. Herbster declined to speak to us about January 6th. He condemned the violence, but in an interview after announcing his run, Herbster would not say Biden won.
There's no way we can really know that because none of the states would look at those irregularities.
Bacon, Axne, and Fortenberry certified the election results.
Our country has been successful because we've had peaceful transitions of power. Even if we don't like the outcome, that's what democracies and representative governments do.
Nebraska's Adrian Smith was the state's lone House member who voted not to certify. He sent us a statement this week calling the riot tragic. He suggested that the January 6th committee should focus its efforts on why Capitol security failed. Trump continues to argue without evidence that the election was stolen.
Therefore, I think this is being looked at, January 6th last year is being looked at as a political issue. It's not. This is a democracy issue. This is an issue about the country that we love and that we live in. This has absolutely zero to do with what letter is behind someone's name.
Aaron Sandiford, 3 News Now.
Nebraska Senator Deb Fischer did not respond to multiple requests for comment on this story, and Senator Ben Sasse sent us a statement condemning the riots and applauding Congress's decision to certify the 2020 election. Americans, he said, solve their disagreements at the ballot box, not with violence. For more on this story and our 3 News Now investigations, visit 3newsnow.com.